I think banking in general can be, at least opening a small business can be really intimidating.
Yeah.
It has never felt that way working with Bremer. Our business wouldn't exist without an SBA loan. Bremer swooped in, held us under their wing, and walked us through it. And we ended up getting everything we needed. Bremer sees us. I mean, like, really sees us.
They're our cheerleaders behind closed doors, and who knew it was going to be our bankers?
I know, right?
Want your boss to put some real action behind the rhetoric when they talk about making your workplace more inclusive? Find out how to hold their feet to the fire and demand diversity on the Diversity Dude podcast.
So, today I want to share with you an encouraging perspective on how it's okay to rest in uncertain times. Now, several podcast episodes ago, I responded to the question of whether to or answer or not to answer culture-related questions, acknowledging that sometimes it's unclear about the motivations of the person asking, what to do with whatever you share, as well as the toll it takes making such, how to make that decision wisely and in a way that can help you feel like you're staying true to who you are. I encourage you to go back and listen to that episode. As for today, I wanted to follow up on the support I gave on that topic in general with support on a related matter, and that being the question of whether or not it's okay to rest in uncertain times. Why do I bring this up? Well, whether it be from interactions experiencing during people's homes, schools, place of work, or community environments more and more each day, or whether it be from the things that we're witnessing or hearing about in politics and otherwise on a national or global stage, with immediate or eventual implications, there's a lot to think about, worry about, or otherwise be stressed or overwhelmed by. So why bring this up on this podcast? Well, one of the reasons why many people feel that way or feel things contributing to stress or overwhelmed are related to perceived cultural disrespect, lack of consideration, or sometimes outright cultural offense or oppressive acts. And as I mentioned previously, this has less to do with disliking someone else's right to say or do what they want. Instead, it has more to do with the implications of what someone else says or does on someone else, or often communities of someone else's. Now, in response to these experiences and their resulting feelings, many people feel compelled to act, often motivated by the belief that the best defense is a good offense. These individuals seeking to protect themselves as well as those whom they care for, even if they don't know them directly, speak up, act up, and otherwise dedicate much of their lives and energy to acting against forces that seem to be acting against them. The goal of these actions is not to hurt others in the same way, but to protect themselves and others from hurt. And since experiences of hurt seem to be endless, then the efforts to protect themselves against that hurt can also seem to be endless as well. The problem with that strategy is that no one has endless amounts of energy to give, even to the most important of causes. This often leads to those giving all of their time, resources, and personal energy, feeling frustrated at the least, and even betrayed at the worst when they see anyone else not doing the same. In these circumstances, anyone not seen contacting their political officials, not participating in protests, not commenting regularly online, speaking out against injustices, or otherwise not talking about the wrongs that we're all surrounded by on a regular basis can be seen as not being allies to the cause if those individuals don't identify as part of a marginalized group, or as being against their own people if they do identify as being part of a marginalized group. However, while there are indeed times when what it seems like is exactly what it is, there are also times when it is not what it seems to be. One reason why things may look different is that not everyone gives in the same way. Another reason is that not everyone gives at the same time. But one of the most overlooked and underappreciated reasons is that, now hear me clearly, some have embraced the fact that it's okay to rest. Now, before I go on, I know that as soon as I say this, someone heard this as an excuse to not be committed to a cause, or as choosing convenience over commitment to protecting the lives and well-being of people near and far. And to be totally honest, that is a reasonable feeling. However, it's not always. Simply put, even those who give their all can't give everything indefinitely. Rest is inevitable. Our bodies and minds require it. It doesn't mean that you don't care. In fact, getting rest can show that you are being responsible with the body and mind that you have enough to replenish your energy. Next can be the best it can be. It's like someone staying up all night to complete an important task. Depending on the task, it can be trying to stay up multiple days. However, The longer they stay awake, whatever effort they have to offer diminishes. At that point, the best gift that they can give is to replenish themselves so that they can get a good night's sleep. Similarly, it can take an understandable toll to be surrounded by cultural stressors, challenging circumstances, oppositional forces, divisive conversations, and more all the time. And yes, it's important to dive into the mud and get dirty sometimes if it means meeting unmet needs. But you know what's also important? Rest. I love that it's becoming more and more common to hear people say that self care is not selfish. While people all would agree with the concept in general, it can become difficult concept to understand in times of legitimate need. But I submit to you that this is exactly what we need the most. For while there is a time for immersing ourselves in difficult experiences of injustice in the world today, reading, watching, listening, and actively engaging in tragedies in search of solutions to those tragedies, there is also a time for surrounding yourself with family and friends, not to continue trying to solve injustices in those circumstances, but to enjoy each other's company, inspiration, and hope. Taking a break and resting isn't done as a correction or even in opposition to the hard and necessary work of active immersion in hard topics and harsh realities that occur on a regular basis. Both. We need to do both. The question is not which one you do, work or rest, but when is the right time to do the right thing for you. As I discussed before, even if we're all actively engaged, everyone doesn't have to do the same thing to be engaged. It's up to each of us to identify what roles of influence and abilities we have and how we can actively maximize them. And it's up to each of us to be self aware enough to know when we need to rest and replenish along the way. It's not up to someone else to tell you when you need to rest. It's also not up to you should be able to handle. You do you. Now, just to give you a heads up, if you doing you means that you do absolutely nothing ever, then you'll understandably have a difficult time defending your commitment to meeting anyone else's needs other than your own. The best antidote to this perception is to do some honest self exploration and ask yourself on a regular, continual basis, not am I doing what everyone else is doing, but instead, am I making the most of the opportunities available to me to positively impact someone or many someone's who have unmet needs today? Am I speaking up when I can, the way I can? Am I advocating when I can, the way I can? Am I reasonable inconveniences in the hopes of returning reasonable conveniences to many others when I can, the way I can? With all this in mind, my hope for you is that you would resist the temptation to feel pressure to endure the same things others seem to be able to endure, and in the same way, and for the same duration of time. Instead, I hope that you would take not an easy excuse to do nothing, but instead be actively on the lookout for insights to share, perspectives that need to be heard, needs that are going unmet, and to do whatever is within your power to do to positively impact others, even if it doesn't look like those around you. And in the times in between, rest confidently, not in complacency, but in anticipation of getting back in the game, your way and in your time. The more people who get the physical, mental, and emotional rest that they need, the more healthy will be the people who can hear well, communicate well, and help bring about the decisions that can bring about the change we all need to see in the world today. And with again for listening to today's Diversity Dude podcast. If you have any pressing diversity related questions that you'd like me to address on an upcoming podcast, or if your organization is in need of a shame free and empowering guest speaker or training on this often sensitive topic, then feel free to reach out to me directly at www.diversitymadesimple.com. And if you know of anyone else who can benefit from a positive and encouraging perspective on this often difficult topic of diversity, feel free to send them a link to this podcast so they can be encouraged as well, or share with them my award-winning book, Diversity in Clinical Practice, available at Amazon.com. And don't forget to visit TED.com and check out my talk called What to Do When You Offend Someone. I hope it inspires you and that you share it with someone else so that they can be inspired as well. And as usual, I look forward to addressing as many topics as possible in future podcasts to help you improve as many relationships as possible at work, at home, and in your community. And as always, remember this: you don't need to know everything about everyone in order to have a positive impact on someone. Thank you all for tuning in and have a great day.
Tune in each week and find out how to demand and implement diversity at your job. To hear more, check out previous Diversity Dude shows on ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com.
You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African-American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast-quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Shaletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.
What's up, everyone? It's Shaletta. I'm here getting a phone for one of my newly minted teenagers with Xfinity Mobile. They've got great options, affordable plans, and solid coverage that works for our whole family. With Xfinity Mobile, my daughter can stay connected with me wherever she goes. And did you know when you sign up, you can get an extra phone line free for a full year? Switch to Xfinity Mobile today for more savings, more smiles, and more ways to stay connected.